Today, we're talking about a simple addition to your grow setup that can take your plants to the next level. We're talking far red light. Hey, but before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Growers Grow Dots, the easiest way to feed your high-value plants. You mix Grow Dots in once at the beginning of your grow, and they feed your plants all the way to harvest. You don't have to worry about nutrient burn or nutrient lockout. Grow Dots does all the hard work for you. Check them out over at realgrowers.com. And while you're there, use coupon code Scotty420 to get 20% off your first order. Now let's get back to the show. All right, High C, come on. You ready to go far out, bro?
Am I ever?
Let's do it. You ever use far red light?
I haven't, and I was going to ask because last week we did a video and we talked about UV lights and how they can add positive stressors, but we totally skipped over this one.
Well, come on, man. You only got 10 minutes, all right?
All right, I've got this pulled up, this PAR chart.
Yes, PAR, photosynthetic active range. Photosynthesis, where the plant's going to build itself, use the light energy to build itself. Active range is the range that photosynthesis works in. Take a look. It's highlighted 400 to 700 on the left-hand side. On the low side, that's your UV, your ultraviolet lights right there. Lots of power. And then on the other side there, that's your reds, your far red lights right there. So you can see they're outside the PAR range. That's when we talk about ultraviolet light. We're not talking about driving photosynthesis. We're talking about the stress response to make more trichomes. Well, it's the same thing on the other side with that far red light. You can see right at about 700, photosynthesis stops. And man, this is interesting. Would you mind just clicking this other one for me? Because I found it really neat.
I got this one with the wavelengths.
Yeah, you see how on UV the wavelengths are really close together. They're super powerful, man. They can penetrate through. That's why that UV can go through your skin and give you cancer and all that. On the other side, you see those reds? See how it's much less intense of a wave? It's like a long wave. Well, plants really good at absorbing that for photosynthesis right up to about 700. After that, it's just not powerful enough of a wave anymore to make that energy. It's got to jiggle that chloroplast and make that energy. Thank you very much. I don't like that look. No, but seriously, it's got to excite this molecule inside of the leaf, and then that's what gives it energy. And so only point is that the energy in that red light, that far red past 700, it's not enough to drive photosynthesis, but it is doing something, man.
So you were telling me about, you called it the Emerson Effect.
Yeah. So what we're talking about, on the other side, they've got these lights. They're putting them out there now. You can buy them all over. Everybody's coming out with a 730 nanometer far red light. So far red on the other side of the red spectrum. And, if you just look at it and you say, hey, why would I want to buy a light that doesn't do anything for photosynthesis? It doesn't drive photosynthesis. But there are two different drivers of photosynthesis. I mean, botany, it's photosystems 1 and photosystems 2. It just means, the light is full spectrum. So the light has, I think it's right around 680, 660 nanometers is photosystems 2. And then photosystems 1 is like 700 nanometers, somewhere on the other, or right around there. Well, when you add the 730 to just your normal red light, it does something where it excites the plant to where it's doing more than it would just, you're getting more of this photosynthetic efficiency. You're getting more than you would if you just added 1,000 watts of this light and 40 watts of another, 680 or 700. The point is the sum is the greater of the whole of its parts. Did I do that one right?
you got close. So help me understand it then.
Yes.
You're saying that up until the 700, that's what's in the full spectrum.
Yep.
And by adding a little bit of past, that's what is it? 730?
730. They call it far red, which is outside the PAR range. Yeah.
And it increases the ability of the photosynthesis from the lights that are inside of the... So it's like a booster, kind of.
Absolutely. It's a booster, but it doesn't make any sense because it's boosting photosynthesis by adding a light that is outside the photosynthetic range.
Okay, so I think I got a grasp on it. It's an additional light, and it's outside of the PAR range, but it helps boost the efficiency of what's inside of the PAR range, or boost my plant's ability to work with that. What does that result in? Why do I even care?
You know, like I said, I haven't done it myself, man. They say you can shave a few days off your flowering time, but increase photosynthesis. The plant, you're building the plant, okay? So if you can increase photosynthesis, that means you're getting more light building energy for the same amount of light or even less light because you're using that Emerson effect.
Okay, so this can definitely help maybe cut back on electricity, but get better results.
Yes, a little bit more photosynthetic efficiency. We also want to be a little bit more efficient.
Okay, and we were talking about the kind of stressors causing terpene growth.
Yeah.
Is there any evidence that this also does that, or is it just bulk plant material?
Like I said, I haven't played with it yet. From what I see, it looks like it's just bulk plant material. It can change the morphology of your plant, though, which maybe means more surface area for more trichomes. We can get into that in a little bit.
All right, you said something earlier about shortening the plant's bloom cycle.
Yeah, this is something that I found Googling peer-reviewed research. Actually, there's several studies that are looking at this. But when you add far red at night, it puts the plants to sleep almost immediately. They call it changing the phytochrome state. And normally it takes, when you turn the lights out, an hour and a half, 2 hours to change that for the plant to realize it's sleeping and to start doing all those metabolic processes it does while sleeping. You know, think about it. Sometimes takes you an hour and a half to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And this light puts you to sleep in 15 minutes. So what's that mean? It means you get, compared to an hour and a half, you're getting what, an hour and 15 minutes more sleep every night? Yeah, so you get an hour and 15 minutes to do those metabolic processes. And the studies that I'm seeing say that it's shortening flower time. Just by a few days, but it is shortening flower time.
Okay, that's crazy because I've been seeing a lot of studies about this same light.
Yeah.
And people doing it in their rooms, turning on a red light and saying that they get the same effect. They go to sleep faster.
They definitely do. I forgot something when I said shorten flower time. You know what these guys are doing? These guys and girls are doing? They are turning the light on for 13 hours. They're doing a 13-hour day because they can put the plants to sleep immediately at night, man.
So you can add an extra hour of light, and then you can make up for it by kicking on the red. And you said leave the far red light on for about 15
minutes. And it doesn't have to be much. For that Emerson effect, what we're talking about, you need like 10-15% of the light to be that far red. For this, you need very little amount of light to put those plants to sleep. It's pretty neat, man.
And you mentioned 10 to 15%. If you go higher than 10 to 15% mixed in with your lights during the day, what happens?
They can get freaky. We're mimicking what's going on in the sun is what we're trying to do. There's far red and deep reds in the sun. So if you mess with that, what do they call it? Ratio. Thank you. Yeah, you can get weird stuff. And shout out to Dr. Bruce Bugbee, did a lot of research on this. He calls it the R ratio. And it's the amount of red you have inside that PAR range to the amount of far red you have outside that PAR range. The higher the ratio, so the more far red you add, is going to make your plants more stretchy.
So they're going to grow upwards.
Yeah, so think about that. If you want stretchy plants, or for some reason you're an extract artist or something like that, or you're trying to get your plants to stretch, adding a lot of that far red will do that. And of course, you're going to have to experiment with it. If you don't want your plants to stretch, make sure you're staying in that Emerson effect, that 10-15%, and don't go nuts with it. And
then you said you can buy these lights by themselves, but also some of the light companies are starting to integrate them with the regular LEDs?
Yeah. Shout out HLG, Horticultural Lighting Group. That's the lights that I run. And if I look at my 350 FRs, or R specs is another, they have R specs, but the R means red. FR, if you see that on the end of a light, it means far red. And what they're doing is, if you take a look at the diodes, which I can still see them in my eyes, put eye protection on me to do it, but you'll see that it's 80-85% white diodes, the normal bright diodes, and then you'll see there's some red diodes in there. They're producing the Emerson effect.
Okay, and say I don't have the money right now to go invest in a whole new set of lights. I can just get this by itself too?
Yeah, you can get these. I don't know. Most lighting manufacturers are making a separate 730. It's like just a bar that you would get. They call them drop-in bars. AC Infinity has one, I know. But yeah, most people are kind of getting hip to the 730 now. Like I said, I have not experimented with these yet. I've got some in the mail coming, so I will let you know. But what about you? Have you experimented with 730 far red lights? If so, I would love to know in the comments. And if you dug this video, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, share this video with another grower you know, and check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommended. I know you'll dig them.